Hey guys, it's Michelle, and today's video is going to be all about the Jonbenet Ramsey case. I find this case the most interesting out of any murder mystery case that I've ever encountered, mainly because I feel like it's super evident what happened, but I feel as though this case is very clear on what happened. It's very evident, and that's why I've always found it interesting, because it's so obvious, but it's been for 20 years and it still has yet to be solved, which blows my fucking mind. So I thought I would share my theories and my knowledge on the case and what I think actually happened to Jonbenet Ramsey. So a backstory on the entire thing, in case you don't know about it. I'm sure you do, because it's become more popular again in the media because of the CBS did like a whole documentary on it, which was amazing. 10 out of 10 would recommend. That's like where a lot of my ideas come from. Like, I've heard about this case years ago and I was super interested in it. They tested a ton of different theories, and the one that I believe in was the one that they believed into, and one that they've proven could have actually happened. Jonbenet Ramsey is a little 6-year-old girl who was murdered and found dead in her house on Christmas Day, but it was like they found her the day after Christmas, so December 26th. Her murder remains unsolved. Unsolved. I'm gonna use that quote lightly because I feel like everyone truly knows in their hearts what happened, and you know, it's pretty obvious. There's a lot of evidence against this person, and it's just, to me, very clear. Basically what happened to Jonbenet Ramsey, according to her parents, this is the timeline I'm gonna mark out for you. They were at a friend's house for Christmas Day, like at night for dinner. So they were at their friend's house for Christmas dinner. Apparently, Jonbenet fell asleep in the car on the way home, which is a normal kid thing. She was 6 years old at the time. So basically, Jonbenet fell asleep in the car, and this whole timeline is all according to the parents. So then when they got home, her dad just carried her to her room and put her to bed, and she was asleep for the rest of the evening. Patsy Ramsey, which is her mother, woke up at around 5:30. And the police call was, I think, at 5:52, I'm not positive, but it was around 6 o'clock in the morning. And the police call was basically her freaking out, saying that we have a kidnapping and that her daughter is missing and there was a ransom note left and they can't find. So the 911 caller was obviously helping and saying like blah blah blah, like do this, we're sending policemen right now, like they're coming right now. So everything was kind of hectic because they expected there to be a kidnapping because there was a ransom note that was left. Now this ransom note is long. Like, let's just start with that. It's a very long note. And CBS did a testing of it where 4 or 5 people took the note and wrote it for themselves. And it took them all at least 21 minutes to write, which is a really long time to write a note. Let alone, the note was written in the Ramsey house. So that's already very suspicious, is that the note was written in the house. Because if it's gonna take 21 minutes just to copy a note, imagine how long it takes to think of what you're writing and think of what you're gonna say. Normally, if you were to kidnap somebody and leave a ransom note, you would probably write the note beforehand because you want to get the hell out of the crime scene. Like, you're not going to stay there. Like, that's ridiculous, right? So the note was written with a pen and a pad that came from the Ramsey house. So this is all super suspicious. Also, the note asked for $118,000, which was exactly John Ramsey's, who is Jonbenet's dad, Christmas bonus. Meanwhile, their family is millionaires. They are very rich. Jonbenet was a little pageant girl and they were super rich. Why would you only ask for $118,000 when you know you have a child? Why would you only ask for that much when you know this family is a billionaire, millionaire, a lot of money? Why would you only ask for that much money? That's suspicious to me. So not only is that suspicious, but also they cleared John Ramsey and his handwriting does not match the note, but they never cleared or confirmed Patsy Ramsey, which is once again very suspicious. I think that the ransom note in itself kind of proves this case even more into my favor of like, wow, what I think happened. Because it's pretty clear that this ransom note was left to steer people away from finding out the actual truth. Now, basically what happened after the 911 call, like the 911 dispatcher had actually said that they heard 3 voices. Now, there was only 3 people in the house at the time, which was Patsy Ramsey, John Ramsey, and Burke Ramsey, which is Jonbenet's older brother, who was 9 years old at the time, almost 10. In Patsy and John's report, they said that he was not awake at the time, and they did not wake him up until the policemen were there, which was much later, obviously, than the 911 call. However, with technology now, we've been able to listen to the phone call and heighten up like the volume and do all some crazy crap that like you can find stuff out, and you can listen to phone calls more clearly. So we found out that there was, in fact, sounded like there was 3 voices, so obviously they were a bit wrong about who was awake. It's still kind of unclear for sure what those voices said, but either way, we pretty much know that there was more than likely 3 voices. Not only that, but also in Burke's interview with Dr. Phil, he kept saying and repeating that like he was asleep, and then when he was awake, he heard screaming and stuff and like freaking out, and heard his mom freaking out, his mom like saying, "Where's my baby? Where's my baby?" Yet he didn't have like the inclination to go downstairs and see what the hell is going on. That is the like one of the most suspicious things to me, because if anything was like happening like outside my room, I would immediately get the fuck up, because what do you mean? Like, you're hearing your parents freaking out. Obviously there's something wrong. Like, you're like telling me you wouldn't go out and like see what the hell's wrong. Like, you're a 9-year-old little boy. You're gonna fucking go outside and see what the hell's wrong. So basically that is the timeline. Then the police arrived after the 911 call. They got to the house, reading the ransom note, figuring out, wondering who could have taken Jonbenet. So at the time, obviously, they all thought it was a kidnapping, so they thought she was alive somewhere, because according to the note, they would give the daughter back if they gave them the money. Now, the note, I feel like, just proves the theory even more, like I said, because of how stupid it is to, like, I don't understand from my standpoint how the parents or whoever was trying to cover up the murder could think that the ransom note would make any sense to the like case or be a good idea or steer the police away from them, because it's so stupid. Like, you can tell, first of all, it was written in the house. Second of all, it took 21 minutes at least to write. Third, it was just bizarre. It was just so weird that you would be asking for only $118,000 when you know you're talking with a millionaire. Like, that's so stupid. They lived in a 15-bedroom mansion. Like, come on. Like, you would not ask for so little amount of money when you have something so near and dear to their heart. What happened next was the police were like, all right, well, we just want to make sure you guys check the entire house one more time. So right away, John Ramsey went straight to like the basement, and he brought his friend with him. So he went to the basement and went to the wine cellar, and that is where he found Jonbenet's body. And he picked her up and took her upstairs, which is a huge no-no. Like, you're not, ew, sorry, I don't know why I said no-no, but it's a huge, like, you're not supposed to do that, because you're tampering with the crime scene even more. Like, that's just stupid. Like, I feel like anyone would know that. However, I understand if my theory is incorrect and they didn't know about it, then possibly you could just be a parent that's freaking out and doesn't know what to do. So yeah, but I also think it's suspicious that he brought like his friend down with him, because I feel like that could kind of be an alibi to prove his reaction was like authentic. So they found her body, did autopsies and everything like that, and they basically found that she had a trauma to the head that apparently did not kill her, but she was strangled by a garrote. I think that's how you pronounce the word, garrote. She was strangled by a garrote, which is like a kind of contraption thing that was made from Patsy Ramsey's like paintbrush collection. Like, one of her paintbrushes was broken and made into a garrote. and the garrote was around like her neck and her hands and all the, like, that stuff, and apparently she actually died because she was strangled. Like, the Ramsey family claimed there must have been an intruder, so they walked downstairs and they showed the police the basement, which had a broken window, which the window was already broken. John Ramsey had said that it was broken before this even happened, they just had never gotten it fixed. And it was proven that somebody could get through the window. However, when you watch the crime scene video, the original video right after it happened on December 26th, you watch the crime scene video, they show the window, and in the corner of the window there is a cobweb. And cobwebs take longer than like 15 minutes to create, or even a couple hours. It had a lot of decay on it. It was clearly a cobweb. So in the CBS reaction, they built the entire Ramsey house on like a sound stage, and they reenacted if somebody were to go through the window, a woman actually went through. So assuming that it was even a larger person than her, because she was like a petite woman, went through the window, and the cobweb was completely disturbed, and went through and went out, and the cobweb was completely disturbed and misplaced. So the cobweb wouldn't have been like that. So if it was somebody that broke into the house, that's not how they got in. So we're now going to go into my theory of what I genuinely think happened. I believe that the night before this all happened, I think what happened was Burke and his mom, Patsy, were downstairs after they had put Jonbenet to bed. Maybe timeline wise, they got home around like 9, so maybe around 10:30, I'm not sure. Around that time, I'm assuming. I'm once again making this timeline up. Burke and Patsy were eating pineapple with milk in it. I don't know, that's like a thing Jonbenet liked. But the fingerprints, because there was a bowl of pineapple with milk in it and a glass of tea that was left out, was found like on the kitchen table when the police got there. So they saw that and they tested the prints, and they were from Burke and Patsy. So yes. So I think that Burke was eating pineapple, and I think at that point Jonbenet was asleep, but I think maybe she woke up and went downstairs. And I think she saw her brother eating her favorite snack and took a pineapple from the bowl. This would explain why there's no fingerprints of Jonbenet on the pineapple bowl. However, it makes sense because Jonbenet was found with pineapple that in her system that was undigested, meaning her food from the dinner party had already been digested and everything, but the pineapple was yet to be digested. I think that she took the pineapple, and Burke took the flashlight, which is believed to be the murder weapon to the head, at least like the head trauma of it. So I believe that he took the flashlight and wonked her right on the head. Nothing that he expected to happen. Like, I don't think he expected her to die. I don't think he tried to kill her. I don't think anything of that. I think he was just a kid who didn't realize what kind of impact that would have on a little girl's tiny little skull. The rest comes with the parents. I think Patsy and John were alarmed because they thought that Jonbenet was dead, because you can actually, I learned this in the CBS documentary, that if you have a blow to the head like that and your skull is cracked, that you can appear to be dead, but like you're actually can be still alive. So because like there was later found out that she died from like the strangulation and not the blow to the head. So I think in a panic they wanted to protect their son. However, I don't get that, like, personally, because I feel like he wouldn't even, not that he wouldn't even get in trouble, but like they got themselves in so much more trouble trying to cover the shit up than they would have if they would have just told the police what happened. So this is when I think all the plotting happened. It explains why the ransom note was written in the house, and explains why a ransom note was written, because it's a really stupid idea, but like when you're like so upset and so stressed out over something like that, like if your kid just killed your other kid, you're gonna just not think super clearly and not realize how that was like a dumb idea. Personally, I think that was really stupid. It kind of makes sense because imagine if it was like a person who is a mass murderer or a typical pedophile, because people thought it was a pedophile case because she was a little pageant girl, and pageant girls are very dolled up and stuff. I don't know, but if it was like a typical murderer, somebody who was not right in the head, I feel like they would be a bit smarter in a sense and like have this more planned out than what happened with the ransom note. So I think that was what happened. What happened was after that is when they made the garrote and decided to kind of alter what we would think happened to Jonbenet. They probably didn't know she was alive because she definitely wasn't responsive. She got hit in the head, so it's very possible that they could have just used the garrote after, because it's actually proven that the garrote wasn't put on her until 45 minutes to 2 hours after she got hit in the head. And they also tested on the CBS show that the flashlight could have actually killed her, and a 10-year-old and a 9-year-old could have done it. They brought a real 9-year-old, or I think maybe he was like 9.5, 10. They took a fake skull and they put like pig skin on it or whatever to make it seem more realistic, and a blonde wig, and hit it, and it cracked almost the exact same way as Jonbenet Ramsey's skull was cracked. It's a very possible theory if you ask me. I think that's exactly what happened. I think in panic they covered it up. A lot of people might be wondering, what about the DNA in the underwear and the sexual assault? So with the sexual assault, it was actually proven that the sexual assault was so minimal and super like microscopic that honestly it could have just happened from John picking up the body and moving it after she already died, or in general, because if like my theory stands and he hit her in the kitchen when they brought her downstairs, it could have been faked, or it even could have just been from transmitting the body so many times. So I think that theory really holds up. It explains the pineapple in her system. It explains the cobwebs of how an intruder really couldn't get in that way. It just explains so much of the story. It explains the ransom note, explains literally everything, and leaves nothing left to question. The DNA in her underwear, they proved once again on the CBS special, which was amazing. They literally proved so much. Underwear, that a new package of child's underwear or any kind of underwear could have foreign DNA on it, just even not touching it at all. They took gloves and they opened the package and swabbed it and tested for DNA, and there was foreign DNA on their new packaged underwear. So it just probably came from manufacturing. I don't think anything of that. So much evidence towards her brother. What I think that they could do that they have not done is test the garrote, test underneath the knot, take apart the knot and test underneath. They have literally not done that, which is so crazy to me that they haven't like undone the knot and like tested for fingerprints and stuff on the knot, because obviously when you tie a knot, like the inside of the knot, if that makes sense, would have fingerprints on it. So that's really like something that they should test. They should also test the flashlight again, because once again I think there's a lot more technology these days than there was 21 years ago. So they should test the inside of the flashlight, because the family said that the flashlight wasn't theirs and they've never seen it before. So they should test the batteries and like the inside of the flashlight, which they also have not done. They haven't tested the batteries, which I think would be really interesting to find out, because how could you explain that if like their DNA is on the batteries? Then that's once again very suspicious. That's my theory behind the Jonbenet Ramsey case. I understand this video is probably really long. But yeah, so that is it for today's video. If you guys liked it, give it a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments what you think about this, case. I would love to read them. I just love like conspirizing and thinking about it, because I don't know, it just really interests me that it hasn't been solved. Subscribe for new videos every single day, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.